want to talk to both of you about a related subject. John, I'll start with you. John Stones and England. England, they beat Switzerland on penalties yesterday to finish third in the Nations League. They took a lead against Holland. Marcus Rashford penalty, and then John Stones really on his own, but Ross Barkley assisted him. They gave 2 goals away to Holland, who never looked like scoring, trying to play the ball out from the back. Goalkeeper was implicated as well. This whole fashion now, if you like, or this vogue for having to pass the ball out around your own 6-yard box at times, but certainly in your own penalty area, it's got to the point now where it's madness, in my opinion. And the Stones episode for England against Holland just confirmed that. What do you make of that idea, that you've got to pass the ball out?
I think it's always been madness, Eamon.
Yeah.
I think it's always been madness. Since it started, it has become fashionable for most teams to do it. I think there's times you can pass out from the back, but I think it's got ridiculous where a goalkeeper can put the full back in trouble, for example.
Yeah.
For example, in Stones' case at the weekend, that wasn't so much playing out from the back as him trying to do something that he shouldn't be doing inside the penalty area. So it's a similar situation. I think it's become part of the game, and I think it's become fashionable as things do in the game. There's an awful lot of copycat effect in football going up back over the years, where the people like Arsenal played 3 at the back, for example. They did well, and everybody was playing 3 at the back. And playing out from the back now has become fashionable, I say, over the last 3 or 4 years, particularly. I think 75% of the time that they're playing out from the back is madness.
Yeah. Liam, I'd just like your opinion on this, because, I mean, you played and saw great defenders. Maldini is an Italian that comes to mind, who was a wonderful footballer, but you never saw him getting on the ball in his own box and trying to pass it square to a fullback and build from there, did you?
No, unless it was obvious that you could get out. I mean, there was plenty of space. They will play. You know, it's decision making by the players who have the ball what to do. You know, I would want a team to play out from the back, but I want the centre back to be able to play it to a midfield player. And if the midfield player had that bit of time to turn on the ball, well, I'd be always encourage that. But what you don't want is players taking silly chances. And let's not forget, Stones has been doing this, you know, since he's been at Man City. He did it at Everton, and the fans were unhappy with him there.
That's right.
He thinks he can get out of situations with you know, his skill or with his past ability, and he's misreading the situations. He's taking too many chances, and it's cost him. And let's face it, you know, Guardiola didn't really rely on him this season at all in the big games. And I think it is something that he has to eliminate from his game, or else he's going to find himself sitting on the bench at Man City, or maybe leaving Man City, or he won't be playing for England, because you just simply cannot have players in those positions who take too many chances. No manager wants that. So it's a balance. I mean, if I can give an example of Van Dijk, he plays out from the back. But when it's not on, he doesn't, you know. Yeah. So it's about players' decision making and football intelligence, really.
Yeah, and I mean, John, one of the things that it seems to me to be the case now is that the first thing they look for, goalkeeper, when he gets the ball, the first thing is this, and only if that's impossible, if there's a high press, then he looks forward. And that's what's wrong. The first thing you should look for, surely, is, you know, safety, and posing a question for the opposition. If you pass the ball to your own fullback, as you said, putting your own fullback in trouble, you're actually asking a question of your own teammate.
Well, it's just wrong, Eamon. I mean, as you know, when I managed the Irish team, played with you.
No one was more a purist than you.
We played out from the back.
Yeah,
but at the right time, Eamon. Actually, I used to get a bit of stick for playing out from the back, but it was never played to fullbacks who were in trouble.
No,
it was played out to fullbacks when he had space, and then the fullback was good enough to make a decision as what to do with it from there. And because you can't tell fullbacks or anybody what to do, but you can certainly tell the goalkeeper and the fullbacks not to be playing it out.
Yeah,
when there's trouble, it's just
common
silly,
sense.
isn't it? It's common sense. I mean, they shouldn't be doing it.
Now, Liam, interestingly, I was thinking about this last night, and in the Champions League semi-final, when Ajax were at home to Spurs, and Spurs were struggling, they're 2-0 down, including an away goal. So they haven't got Harry Kane, but they brought on Llorente, and all of a sudden, they started pumping long balls up. This is Pochettino, one of the most respected coaches in the world. They pumped a lot of long balls up. Llorente had a field day, and Lucas Moura got on the end of it, scored a hat-trick, and they caused all kinds of problems for Ajax by doing something unexpected, i.e. Playing long balls, which you hardly ever see in the game now.
Well, that's always been a tactic, and really, it's always been a tactic, especially if you're chasing the game and you need a goal, and which Spurs did on this occasion. I thought Dele Alli and Eriksson were out of sorts in that game, so I think he decided at halftime, we'll just push the big lad up front and let's go a bit more direct, and let's put the Danish defenders under the kind of pressure that they hadn't seen, and let's see how they handled it. And they didn't handle it, and the goalkeeper didn't handle it. And Spurs turned the game around completely. I think Ajax showed their inexperience. They lost their way a bit.
Yeah.
And they're in many ways their nerve went a little bit, and I think that's what that's how Spurs were able to overcome them. I think Ajax were in a position that they had 1 foot in the final, and then all of a sudden the game changes, and they just didn't have the know-how to get out of that situation. But it is a tactic that works. It's a tactic that we've seen it work for Ireland with Trapattoni. I mean, look at the goal that Shane Long scored against Germany, Eamon, to win that match in the Riva. It works, doesn't it? It works. But if you play it all the time, which the Irish teams were guilty of under Martin O'Neill and, to a certain respect, Trapp, the other opposition just know what to expect all the time. I think in Ajax's case, they didn't expect what happened.
Right.
And I think it's a difference, Eamon, between, in the old days, you talk about that. There's a difference between a long pass and a long ball.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's room for everything in football if it's effective.
Yeah.
I mean, in the old days, like it's changed now, but in your time and my time and Liam's time, most teams had a big centre forward.
Yep.
That you could play at the right time. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
If it's done at the right time. I don't think we never did anyway. We all played together. I agreed with knocking it up there and knock it up there at the right time.
Yeah.
And you had big centre forwards bringing people into the game. That's a long pass.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I raised this question is it appears now that every game I watch, every game I watch, goalkeepers now drop the ball at their feet, and they're looking, the first thing they look for is the fullback.
Yeah.
And they want to play it out that way. I think it's wrong. I think it's dangerous. And I think the balances which Liam referred to and you refer to, there's a time to do it and there's a time not to do it. But now, I mean, I watched England over the weekend. Every time Pickford had the ball, that's what he did.
Yeah, they all did. And what's happening as well, Eamon, because if you put the full-back in trouble, then it goes in, and the way he gets out of trouble mostly is pass it back to the goalkeeper, pass it out to the right back. And I'm talking about now the game modern. I don't like criticising it because they're all-timer and all that. But there's so much passing the ball from right back to centre back to left back, back again. No, the game has changed in terms. Nobody's looking forward.
Yes.
Like in our day, if you got the left back got it and he was in a good position, actually the first thing he'd actually look for is can he knock it up to the centre forward?
Yeah.
To control it, not a big long ball, a control ball, and then you go from there.
Yeah.
That has gone out of them, and I think it's a fault in the game. There's no doubt because you're passing the ball, I think, for the sake of it, And as you said, when it has happened with Lorente in that particular match, they were good balls up to him.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's why, like, if you look at most of the teams now, Eamon, they don't have a big centre forward. They used to call it the target man, which was a great way of playing at the right time. But that has gone out of the game because it's passing now, and it's passing across. Midfield players are not turning on the ball the way they should be. Goes back to the fullback, and I think they're passing for the sake of it. And at times, dangerously. That's the big problem with it as well.
Okay.